All right, you're going to first start the lesson by having the students start writing on their whiteboards 1 through 10. That's a procedure that we use every time they come in for recess. And then that way they can practice writing their numerals and showing you, and then you can help those that need to write as needed. Do that for about 5 or 10 minutes so that way they cool down, and then bring the kids to the carpet and you go over the objective and have the student echo you by saying, I can use more, fewer, and the same number to describe groups. Now, because this is somewhat a new concept, you want to make sure that everybody understands what more means, giving them examples of what is more, also giving them example of what is fewer mean. Um, we typically use less than, but in this case, in this lesson, we're going to use more and fewer. And then the same number, we also use equal. So we want to use those terms interchangeably: more than, more, fewer than, less than, equal to, or the same number. And in the previous lesson, you guys talked about describing groups, and know that groups means that there's more than one, or there's groups of, and make sure that the students really understand this vocabulary. Then you're going to do the supertizing cards, go through the supertizing cards with the kids really quickly. And then these slides basically go through reinforcing them using their fingers to see how they see them and how do they see them. So like, for example, this one would say they see 4. Well, how do you see that? Well, you could have counted this one, 1, 2, 3, or 4. But a kid may also say, okay, I see that there's 5 here. There's 5. And if I have less than 1, that's going to make me know that that's 4. So kind of just reinforcing, what did the kids see whenever they're using their hands. And then they discuss it with their partners. Always structure the discussion by allowing someone to go first, and make sure that you tell who goes first, and then the second person talks. And that way you will have 100% participation. Same thing with this one. You just go through the slides. These are some finger counting. Now, this one goes into the lesson of one more. So you have the students show you 8 fingers, and you want them to use, like we learned in our PD, by reading from left to right, and showing one more. What would one more look like if they had one more? And then it would be 9. And then again, show 8. What would it look like if we showed one fewer? Again, use that less than and fewer terminology here. And of course, it would be 7. This is something that I threw in that they used last year. All right, this one has a statement here that says, this is just for you to know that you're going to read a statement to the students. Your job is to find the box of cubes that matches the statement. So in this one, it says, in this box, there are more red cubes than blue cubes. Which box has more red cubes, and how do you know? And this one you go through with the students, and you're actually going to say, okay, well, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you do this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And you kind of have the kids just talk with their partners. Which one has more, and how do they know? And we're reminding them that they're looking for the red one, which one has more in the red one. And so they may say this one because blue has more, but we're looking for the red. And so after you discuss it with the kids, you guys will find that that one has more. Now let's do another one. This time I'm going to act as if I'm the teacher. Okay, guys, I'm going to read a statement to you, and your job is to find which box of cubes matches the statement, okay? Are you ready? All right. In this box, there are fewer. I'm going to mark that fewer or less than red cubes than the blue cubes. So I'm looking for which box has fewer red than the blue? Which box has fewer red cubes? And how do you know? Turn to your partner and talk with your partner. And this time, I want the person with the longest hair to go first. Okay? So, the person with the longest hair, I want you to figure out which one has fewer than the blue. And then you allow the kids to talk about it, bring the kids back, and then they should all say that it's this one, and then discuss why. And then there's another example of that. And then you want to have them finish up with a sentence starter saying there are more blank cubes than blank cubes. So this one would the kids would say there are more blue cubes than red cubes. And then you would talk about how do they know and why. And then this is another activity that I added about building the tower and just reinforcing them looking at how many there are, which one has fewer, which one has more, and just having a little bit more discussion. Now, if the kids get this, you can just do a couple of them and then move on to the activity, another activity. But this one gives you several examples of more and fewer. And then each kid is going to take a handful of cubes and put them together in a tower. They didn't say 2 handfuls, 3 handfuls, just 1 handful. So allow each kid to grab out of the box a handful of cubes, and then they're going to put them together. And then they're going to walk around the room with their cube tower. And when you make the signal, they're going to find a partner. So this is going to be like a mixed pair share. A good thing to do here, you can start music, allow them to move around, dance, and then stop the music, and then they have to find a partner. And then they figure out whose tower has more cubes and whose tower has fewer. And then they're going to use the statements. You have more cubes than I do. I have fewer cubes than you do. We have the same number of cubes. And you want to make sure that you're reinforcing that vocabulary more and fewer. And then you're going to give them another signal. They're going to find a partner and then figure out whose tower has more and whose tower has fewer cubes. And then you're going to bring them back to the carpet and have a class discussion. This is going to put a timestamp in their brain about what the lesson was all about. And then go through the finger cards again. This is the finger center. And then a new one is they're going to do the number race, trace it. They're going to roll a cube onto the mat. There's some die that's in the where all the manipulatives are. And you can find this recording sheet on the math website. And they're going to trace the number on the recording sheet each time starting from the bottom. And they play until they traced all the numbers, and that's the winner. You want to make sure that you model this for the student and have students come to the front to practice it with you as partners, and then say that this is one of their centers. And then we're going to divide the students up into centers. There's going to be a shake and spill center, a pattern block center, a number race center, math fingers, and less, more, same, and more. That's the towers. If we don't have time for this is fine. You can let them choose the centers, or you can have them rotate by tables. And make sure that everything is cleaned up and why. And then we're going to close it by saying, it looks like I need to fix that. Today we use more, fewer, and the same to describe the amount of objects in our groups. And then we're going to discuss what does fewer mean, what does more mean, and what does same mean. And then that's the end of your lesson.